The scorching desert sun beat down mercilessly on the small gas station, creating waves of heat that shimmered above the cracked concrete. Jake Park stood behind the counter, his dark eyes scanning the empty highway that stretched like a grey ribbon across the endless brown landscape. He had worked this remote station for 3 years, and most days passed without much excitement. A low rumble broke the silence. Jake looked up, squinting against the bright light. 3 strange motorcycles approached, their design unlike anything he had ever seen before. The bikes moved with an unusual smoothness, almost gliding rather than riding on the rough desert road. As the vehicles drew closer, Jake noticed something different about the riders. Their skin seemed to shift colors subtly, like oil on water. Their helmets were not typical human design. They looked more like advanced technological shells than standard protective gear. The lead motorcycle pulled up to the fuel pump. The rider dismounted with a fluid motion that was both graceful and slightly unnatural. Jake watched carefully as the figure approached the station's entrance. The alien, for Jake was now certain this was not a human, stood about 6 feet tall. Its skin had a pale blue-gray tone that seemed to change slightly with each movement. The eyes were large, almost translucent, with pupils that moved independently of each other. "Water," the creature said, its voice coming through a small translation device attached to its chest. The sound was flat, emotionless. Jake remained calm. His years in the military had taught him to control his reactions, to read situations quickly. Something about these visitors felt wrong. They weren't just passing travelers. There was an underlying tension, a sense of potential violence barely contained. 50 cents, Jake responded, keeping his voice steady. The alien leader, who Jake would later learn was named Kai Lee, tilted its head. The movement was bird-like, quick and precise. Its companions remained on their vehicles, watching the interaction with an intensity that made the hair on Jake's neck stand up. Jake reached for a large water bottle. His hand moved slowly, deliberately. Years of military training had taught him to be aware of every movement, every potential threat. The muscles in his arms, built from years of physical training, were relaxed but ready. Kai Lee's companions began to move. They spread out around the gas station, their movements synchronized, like a practiced military unit. But they weren't military. They were something else, something dangerous. The desert wind picked up, carrying dust and small rocks. A tumbleweed rolled past the station, adding to the tension of the moment. Jake knew something was about to happen. He could feel it in the way the aliens moved, in the charged atmosphere that seemed to crackle with potential violence. One of the other aliens started touching equipment near the fuel pumps. Its long, multi-jointed fingers moved across surfaces, scanning, investigating. Jake watched carefully, his body remaining still, but his mind racing through potential scenarios. "Just passing through?" Jake asked, his voice calm and neutral. Kai Lee turned, those strange independent pupils focusing on Jake with an intensity that would have made most humans look away. But Jake had faced down worse in combat zones across the world. He didn't flinch. The alien's skin shifted again, this time taking on a slightly darker shade. A sign of emotion, perhaps. Anger. Excitement. Jake couldn't be sure. "Just passing," Kai Lee responded. But the word felt like a lie. Outside, the other 2 aliens continued their slow, deliberate exploration of the gas station. They moved like predators, checking every corner, every potential hiding spot. This was no ordinary road trip. Jake's hand moved slightly, almost imperceptibly, closer to a hidden compartment beneath the counter. Whatever was coming, he would be ready. The desert continued its timeless watch. The sun burned, the wind blew. And at this small, isolated gas station, something was about to happen. The tension grew slowly, like a storm building on the horizon. Jake watched as the aliens began their subtle game of provocation. First, one of them knocked over a stack of empty fuel containers, the loud crash breaking the desert silence. Jake didn't move. His eyes tracked their movements. The second alien approached the small convenience store section. Its multi-jointed fingers traced over merchandise, deliberately pushing items off shelves. A bag of chips fell, then a row of energy drinks. The calculated nature of the actions was clear. They were testing Jake's reaction. Jake's watch began to blink softly. A hidden communication device, a remnant from his military days. Something was tracking the strange visitors. He tapped it. Twice. A silent signal that something was wrong. Kai Li moved closer to the counter, his body language challenging. The alien's skin continued to shift colors. A remarkable display of what seemed like emotional response. Blues and grays mixed, creating a swirling pattern that would have been beautiful if not so threatening. "Your equipment seems fragile," Kai Li said, his translation device rendering the words with a flat, emotionless tone. Jake remained calm. He had seen this type of psychological warfare before. In military training, they called it probing, testing defenses, looking for weakness. These aliens were professionals at creating tension. The second alien began tampering with the gas station's electrical system. Lights flickered. The refrigerator hummed irregularly. Small disruptions designed to unsettle. Jake noticed a pattern. They were creating chaos, but with purpose. Each action was calculated. Each movement had meaning. They weren't just random troublemakers. They were testing something specific. His military training kicked in: observe, analyze, prepare. The desert wind picked up, bringing dust that swirled around the station. The aliens' motorcycles stood like alien machines, their metallic surfaces reflecting the harsh sunlight. They weren't normal vehicles. They were something more advanced, something that didn't quite fit with Earth technology. One of the alien companions approached Jake, moving with an unnatural grace. Its height was impressive, nearly 7 feet tall, with a body structure that seemed both flexible and rigid. The creature stopped just short of the counter, its multiple eyes scanning every inch of the small space. Jake's hand moved slightly. Not a threat, just a preparatory gesture. Years of training had taught him to be ready without showing aggression. The communication device on his watch continued blinking. Someone was tracking these visitors. Someone knew something was happening. At this isolated gas station, Kai Li picked up a small electronic device from the counter. He turned it over in his hands, his fingers moving in ways that suggested technological understanding far beyond human capability. Then, with a deliberate motion, he dropped the device. It fell, breaking into multiple pieces. A challenge. A test. Jake didn't react. No change in breathing. No movement of muscles. Complete control. The aliens seemed frustrated. Their probing was not creating the response they wanted. Each calculated action met with calm, professional resistance. Outside, the desert continued its timeless existence. Rocks, sand, heat, the occasional distant mountain. Nothing changed, yet everything was about to change. The communication device blinked again. Faster this time. A message was coming. Someone was aware. Someone was watching. Kai Li turned, looking directly at Jake. Those strange, independent pupils, focused with an intensity that would have unsettled most humans. But Jake had seen worse. Much worse. "Interesting human," Kai Li said, the translation device rendering the words with mechanical precision. Jake said nothing, but his eyes told a different story. A story of preparation, of waiting, of something brewing beneath the calm surface. The desert wind continued to blow, dust swirled, the aliens moved, and at this small isolated gas station, a confrontation was building, slowly, carefully, with purpose. Something was coming. The moment broke like glass. Kai Li lunged forward with impossible speed. His body moved more like liquid than solid, arms extending in ways no human could manage. Jake's training clicked into place instantly, muscle memory from years of combat becoming pure reaction. In 3 seconds, Jake's body transformed from calm attendant to trained fighter. His right hand intercepted Kai Li's attack, redirecting the alien's momentum. A quick step to the side, a precise twist of the wrist, and suddenly the alien found himself off balance. The other 2 aliens moved to support their leader, but Jake was already 3 steps ahead. A nearby metal pipe became an instant weapon, not for striking but for blocking and controlling space. Kai Li crashed into a display of energy drinks. Bottles exploded, creating a wet, sticky mess across the floor. The alien looked shocked, clearly not expecting such a quick response from a seemingly ordinary human. Jake's breathing remained controlled, steady, calculated. The gas station became a battlefield in seconds. The aliens had chosen the wrong human to challenge. Jake's military background wasn't just training, it was a complete system of thinking, moving, fighting. One alien tried to circle behind Jake. Mistake. Jake's awareness was total. A quick back kick stopped the creature's movement, sending it stumbling into a rack of automobile supplies. Tools and oil containers crashed to the floor. Kai Li recovered quickly. His body seemed to reshape itself, becoming more compact, more dangerous. But Jake was already moving. Years of combat training had taught him one crucial lesson: never give your opponent time to recover. The fight wasn't about strength. It was about strategy, about understanding movement, about controlling space. Jake used the environment like a weapon. A quick grab of a fire extinguisher became a defensive shield. A display stand became a barrier. Every object in the gas station was a potential tool. The aliens communicated in quick, sharp sounds, not words, but something more primitive. Clicks and low rumbles that suggested confusion and growing concern. They had not expected this level of resistance. Kai Li attacked again. This time, Jake didn't just defend. He countered. A precise strike to a point just below the alien's shoulder, a spot that seemed to control movement. The alien's entire body momentarily froze. Outside, the desert watched, indifferent, timeless. Blood, or something like blood, began to show on Kai Li's body. Not from wounds, but from internal disruption. Jake's strikes were surgical, precise, designed to disable, not destroy. The communication device on Jake's watch continued blinking. Someone was tracking this encounter. Someone knew exactly what was happening. Another alien tried a technological weapon, a strange device that hummed with energy. Jake was already moving. A metal tray became a shield. The energy dissipated, leaving nothing more than a small scorch mark. Kai Li realized something fundamental in that moment. This wasn't just a fight. This was a complete demonstration of human capability, of human adaptability. 7 seconds had passed since the first attack. The gas station looked like a war zone. Broken bottles, scattered supplies, overturned displays. But the most significant destruction was the alien's sense of superiority. Jake stood in the center, breathing steady, muscles ready, eyes calculating. Kai Li and his companions found themselves defeated, not just physically, but psychologically. Their entire approach, their belief in easy victory, had been completely destroyed. The desert wind blew through the broken station windows. Dust swirled. Time seemed to pause. Jake had done more than defend a gas station. He had sent a message about human capability, about unexpected strength. The confrontation was over, but something bigger was just beginning. The communication device on Jake's watch buzzed. Elena Kim's voice crackled through the encrypted channel, her words sharp and precise. Situation confirmed. Tracking multiple unknown entities. Backup approaching. Jake didn't respond verbally. A single tap acknowledged the message. Years of military communication had taught him efficiency. The aliens were recovering, but Jake was already moving. Their advanced technology would be there. Weakness. Every piece of electronic equipment in the gas station became a potential weapon. Kai Li and his companions tried re-establishing their communication network. Mistake. Jake had already begun jamming their signals. Small modifications to the station's radio equipment created a disruption field that would confuse their most advanced tracking systems. Outside, the desert landscape began to change. Dust clouds moved unnaturally. Something was coming. Jake systematically disabled the aliens' motorcycle-like vehicles. Not by physical destruction, but by intelligent interference. A few precise touches to their electronic systems would render them useless. Each movement was calculated, each action purposeful. The aliens realized they were losing control of the situation. Their skin began changing colors rapidly, a sign of confusion and growing panic. They had chosen the wrong human, the wrong location, the wrong moment. A low rumble approached from the distance. Military vehicles. Jake's backup was near. Kai Li tried one last technological attack. A small device emerged from his suit, something that looked like an advanced communication scrambler. Jake was already moving. A metal tray became a shield. The energy dissipated harmlessly. The communication device continued blinking, tracking, recording, preparing. Military communication channels opened, encrypted, secure. Jake's former unit was monitoring everything. This was more than a simple gas station confrontation. This was a strategic encounter. The aliens began to realize the complexity of their mistake. This wasn't just about a single human. This was about human capability, human adaptation. Dust clouds grew larger. Military vehicles approached. The aliens' options were rapidly disappearing. Jake moved through the gas station like a ghost, each movement precise, each action calculated. The aliens found themselves increasingly isolated, their advanced technology failing, their physical abilities neutralized. Elena's voice returned. "Perimeter secure, tactical response team 2 minutes out." The desert wind picked up. Dust swirled. Time seemed to slow. Kai Li made one final attempt to communicate. The translation device produced a series of clicks and mechanical sounds. A desperate communication, a request for understanding. Jake stood silent, watching, waiting. The first military vehicle appeared on the horizon, sleek, powerful, moving with purpose. The aliens realized the full extent of their mistake. This wasn't just about a gas station. This was about showing the universe something fundamental about humanity, adaptability, strategy, unexpected strength. Jake's military training came from years of preparation, years of understanding that victory isn't about physical strength. It's about intelligence, about seeing the entire battlefield. The military vehicles approached. Dust clouds surrounded them. The isolation of the desert became a tactical advantage. Kai Li and his companions found themselves completely surrounded, their advanced technology neutralized, their physical capabilities matched. Jake remained calm, controlled, a single point of focus in a chaotic moment. The first military vehicle stopped. Doors opened. Specialized response team emerged. The confrontation was entering its final stage. But the message was already clear. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The desert watched. Indifferent, timeless. Something significant had just happened at this small, isolated gas station. The military vehicles surrounded the gas station like silent predators. Dust settled. Silence descended. David Park stepped out of the lead vehicle. His eyes scanned the scene. Broken bottles, scattered supplies, and the defeated alien group. A knowing smile crossed his weathered face. Jake stood exactly where he had been during the entire confrontation. Calm, controlled, unbroken. Kai Li and his companions found themselves completely neutralized. Their advanced technology lay in pieces, their supposed superiority shattered by a single human at a remote desert gas station. Military specialists in specialized suits began collecting evidence, strange devices, fragments of alien technology, each piece carefully documented. Elena Kim's voice came through the communication systems. Situation contained. Prepare for extraction and information lockdown. The aliens seemed confused. Their entire mission, whatever it had been, had collapsed in less than 15 minutes. They had come expecting an easy target. They found something entirely different. David approached Jake. No words were needed. A simple nod passed between them. The kind of communication built through years of shared military experience. "Some beings never learn," David muttered, his eyes still scanning the aliens. The military team began processing the aliens. No violence, no aggression, just pure, calculated, professional approach. Each alien was treated with a clinical precision. That suggested this wasn't the first such encounter. Jake's communication device continued blinking. Information was being transmitted, recorded, analyzed. The desert wind continued blowing. Rocks, sand, heat. Nothing had changed, yet everything was different. Kai Li tried to communicate. The translation device produced mechanical sounds, a request, an explanation, but no one was listening. Military vehicles began loading equipment. The aliens were carefully restrained, not with physical force, but with advanced technological systems that neutralized their capabilities. David looked at Jake. "Interesting day at the office," he said quietly. Jake simply nodded. No extra words needed. The gas station looked like a battlefield. Broken supplies, scattered equipment, evidence of a confrontation that would never be publicly discussed. Elena's voice came through again. "Complete information lockdown initiated. No external communication permitted." The military operation moved with practiced efficiency. Each team member knew exactly what to do, where to move, how to handle the situation. Kai Li and his companions realized the full extent of their mistake. This wasn't just about a simple confrontation. This was about showing the universe something fundamental about humanity: adaptability, strategy, unexpected strength. The first military vehicles began moving. Aliens secured, evidence collected. The desert would keep its secrets. Jake remained at the gas station, waiting, observing. David approached him one last time. "Report to base in 48 hours, he said quietly. Another simple instruction between people who understood each other. The sun began to set. Colors changed: orange, red, purple. Another day ended in the desert. Another story would never be told. But something had changed. A message had been sent. Not just to the aliens, but to anyone who might be watching. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The gas station stood silent, broken, defeated, but unbroken. Just another day in the universe. Jake Park turned, picked up a broom, and began cleaning up the mess. Life continued. The Z. Desert watched, indifferent, timeless. Another story completed, another secret kept.